You know, the shooting of Steve Scalise, the majority whip, and those other participants practicing for that charity baseball game tomorrow night is a story that's going to stay with us for a very long time. There's a lot of sadness and anger in the wake of this shooting. Even as the nation extends prayers for the victims, our fractured political environment is such that this horrific assault probably does more to divide than heal. I mean, think about it. These are crazy times, desperate times, and for too many, hopeless times. But we also have to remember who we are. You know, this morning a guy stopped me on the street as I was coming to work to tell me how much he loves what I do on TV. And he explained how he was from Eastern Europe and he grew up under the yoke of communism, so he understood the dangers of it firsthand. And then he wondered to me, he said, well, I wonder why President Trump simply doesn't go around Congress and the courts and just make his agenda the law. Now, listen, I obviously understood his frustration, but I also reminded him that America was founded on checks and balances, and even as the system is being gamed, it must be honored. This is why America has surpassed all the other countries in the world. It's the rule of law central to our republic. That being said, the reason nations in the past have embraced socialism or communism, even ushering in dictatorships with open arms, was a sense of frustration. And I know Americans right now are very frustrated for a variety of reasons, but I think we must keep our wits about us and find ways to allow the spirit of the Constitution and unity to stop us from slipping into the pit of madness that has derailed so many other nations in the past. Joining me now to discuss, Ford O'Connell and Boyd Matheson. Boyd, you've written about this and you understand it firsthand, you know, working as you have with Congressman Mike Lee and others. But there's some frustration out there that could take us to places I'm not sure we want to go right now.
That's right, and there is some frustration and some angst out there, but I don't think the American people are nearly as divided as many of our political leaders want us to believe that we are. As you rightly described, Charles, despots and dictators have used that as a strategy for decades and for millennia to divide the people, create that kind of frustration and anger, and it leaves them in power. And that's the problem. The other thing we have to look to, Charles, is that this problem will not be solved in Washington. Our political leaders rarely lead. It is culture and community that lead all the way back to the beginning of our founding as a nation. And so we have to, this isn't going to be a congressional kumbaya group hug moment and everything's going to change. We saw this in the hearings last week. I made one prediction that I knew I'd be right on, and that was before either Comey or Sessions was done speaking, both the left and the right would have already sent out emails, vicious, angry, demeaning, demoralizing, raising money. It's like what it used to say on your shampoo bottle: lather, rinse, repeat. And our political parties are lathering people up, rinse it off with a $100 donation, and then repeat. So we got to look to community.
Yeah, but I think that Charles makes a great point here. Look, no matter how bad we think things are, we've got to keep our wits and respect the rule of law, or else we will descend into chaos. This is not America 1850 or even 1960. This is 2017. And essentially, political violence is never justified in this day and age. And ultimately, this is this shooter's fault. But we all have to think about the role that we play in perpetuating this kind of violence. And yes, Boyd, I do agree with you. People are saying and doing the right thing right now. What's going to happen 2 weeks from now or 3 months from now? Are we going to revert back to our bad habits, or are we going to find a way forward? I hope we find a way forward.
Well, we've always have found a way forward. And by the way, I do want to apologize to Senator Mike Lee. I didn't mean to demote him. Guys, thank you both very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, we're turning into a happier note, and two things that do make America great. First, the U.S. Army celebrating its birthday today. 242 years of protecting the United States and the world and providing opportunities to so many people like my dad. And also, Flag Day. Stars and Stripes, the very symbol of freedom and liberty. And as a patriot, you've got to love it. God bless America. God bless our armed services and the men and women that keep us safe.